Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. I don't think I've said this as frequently as I have done in the past couple of weeks because obviously Chelsea right now are heavily in the footballing news. Everybody's talking about us, not just Chelsea people of interest, but everybody. There is a football club sale going on right now for the European champions, the Club World Cup winners. Chelsea Football Club's up for sale, and here on GBFC I've been trying to update you guys with as much valuable information and opinion as possible. So if you're not yet subscribed, be sure to do so, and as always, if you could hit that like button, that does me a world of favours. But today we have progressions. Overnight when I sleep, I normally wake up and I see what the day's resulting news is. And from the way I understand it at this moment in time, there looks to be 3 serious contenders on the Tuesday that we're in right now, with obviously the deadline for bids being Friday. There seems to be 3 lead contenders right now for buying Chelsea Football Club. We heard over the weekend from Matt Law on Sky that there were a lot of interested parties. And interested parties, it can obviously be a lot of people, but to actually put in a bid is a different story. For that bid to be something that is accepted, only one of them can be accepted. And now, the 3 parties that we're looking at closest and we're hearing the most about are the Saudi media group, who we spoke about yesterday, TODD BOEHLY and the consortium with the Wyss Group, and then we've also got Nick Candy, who is looking to partner with Martin Broughton, both Chelsea fans, in order to go ahead and buy Chelsea Football Club. I think with all of these groups, there are positives with each one. And if I was to give my opinion right now as to the one that I would like personally the least based off of the knowledge that I know, TODD BOEHLY and his group, I think if we can try and stay away from as many different US investors as we possibly can, then that satisfies me with the brief knowledge that we all have. And of course, we only have speculation as to what these guys will do if they were to take over Chelsea Football Club. The Saudi media group, who we spoke about yesterday, have reportedly lodged a bid for Chelsea Football Club of 2.7 million. Yeah, that was not going to go very far. 2.7 billion pounds, which again, astronomical sums of money. But the Saudi media group, of all of these interested parties, would have the most money behind them. There is still a lot of speculation and debate to be had regarding whether or not the Saudi media group are actually directly affiliated with the Saudi government. There is talks that maybe the UK government, who are also a big part of making the decisions now in this entire process, maybe they wouldn't want to sell it to Saudi media group. And I think if there is more foreign interest, then it is more likely to take less time. And what we do understand at the moment is the goal is to try and sell Chelsea Football Club as quickly as possible. So when there is solid bids coming in potentially from other parties where deals might be simpler, we may end up seeing that as opposed to ever really seeing what could be the best. Now, I'm not saying that the Saudi media group would be the best, and I think it's also important to realise that as Chelsea fans, a lot of us may simply look at how rich these consortiums, how rich these businessmen are, and base that off of what the right decisions should be, which of course isn't always going to be the best for Chelsea. We could end up having a super rich owner who might even have trillions available, but at the end of the day, it depends entirely on what Chelsea Football Club is seen as to these business people. The Saudi media group, it is confirmed that the person in charge is in fact a Chelsea fan. So that does bode well for where they would like to send the club, in terms of we have got 19 years of history here of Roman Abramovich injecting into Chelsea on a consistent basis. Even when we've spent badly, we've still spent big. Danny Drinkwater cost 40 million quid. Bakayoko also cost 40 million quid. There's 80 million that we kind of just pissed down the drain. With Roman Abramovich, we've got a standard, but at the same time, the future of Chelsea right now, and this is where my opinion differs minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day at this moment in time, when I really consider what the club is going to need, we can immediately just throw massive figures out there and say, well, if we still spend this much money, the likelihood is we could still see the same success when it comes to bringing in trophies as we did under Roman Abramovich. However, Roman Abramovich, as much as the success was immediate, there was also a lot of work that was done to make sure that Chelsea wasn't just a club that won trophies, but was also a club that was working on various other different things, including charitable foundations, building the academy at Cobham to what it is today, one of the best academies in the world. There is much more that meets the eye as to what made Roman Abramovich a successful owner of Chelsea FC. So, up on the screen now, you can see a very brief profile of TODD BOEHLY, and TODD BOEHLY is going to be part of the Swiss interest from the Wyss Group, and that is obviously one that we have heard about since the very early stages. As much as TODD BOEHLY might be a businessman in a sporting field, I always wonder, with these American owners, what's going to happen. In terms of my skepticism, which you guys know I try and be as optimistic as possible, but there is such a deep element of realism that we need to approach our feelings about any of these bids and any potential buyer of Chelsea. And from the experience we've seen in the Premier League with United, Liverpool, Arsenal, the ones that really spring to mind immediately, there would be serious questions about this. TODD BOEHLY, I think that he's not the worst that could possibly be linked with Chelsea, but he's certainly not the best. Now, the one that I want to focus on today, yesterday I told you guys that I was fully behind any move from the Saudi media group. There is still negatives. There are negatives and positives with everybody. But Nick Candy is one that I do find very interesting for multiple different reasons. Nick Candy is a Chelsea season ticket holder. He also scattered his father's ashes on the pitch at Stamford Bridge and was directly speaking with Roman Abramovich in order to make this happen. Even though Roman Abramovich no longer really has a say with what happens now at Chelsea Football Club because the sale money isn't going to go to him, it is good to see that Nick Candy is somebody who is highly passionate about where the club goes next, which I think, in terms of if we were to bracket into a micro explanation as to what the biggest concerns were from us Chelsea fans right now, is the person who buys our club gonna care about our club? Nick Candy is reportedly looking to partner with Martin Broughton, who is also a UK-based person, and is also another Chelsea fan. Any bid that Nick Candy would make for Chelsea and any success that he would get from that bid would also see him make sure that Chelsea supporters have a say with what goes on at the club. He would want a fan representative as part of the Chelsea board. This is safety, in my mind, if we're talking about Saudi media group having the biggest check available, which kind of ticks the boxes of would Chelsea probably go out and spend big again to win trophies. Yes, that works on that side, but with Nick Candy, he's already gone to Stamford Bridge, saw the game against Newcastle at the weekend, and it's reported that he had a meeting with Marina Granovskaya and Bruce Buck inside Stamford Bridge. This is also important because there was a lot of talk that with Roman Abramovich selling the club, it could see an entire revolution of staff within the club, such as Bruce Buck no longer being involved, Marina Granovskaya, who we know is basically Roman Abramovich's on-the-ground lady, getting stuff done for Chelsea Football Club. We know how she negotiates the transfers for us, usually to get a great deal for Chelsea. So if someone comes in and all of this infrastructure within the club changes, not just the macro scale of Roman Abramovich no longer the owner, somebody else is, I think also Chelsea should have it within their interest to maintain the likes of Bruce Buck, Marina Granovskaya, Petr Cech as key fundamental staff members in Chelsea Football Club. And if Nick Candy's had a meeting with these guys, of course right now Marina's still working for Chelsea. She is still going to do her best to make sure that Chelsea gets into the best hands possible. Although it isn't entirely up to her, it's up to Rain Group and also the UK government to make that final decision. Any conversation that's happening that involves people like this right now at the club, it certainly fills me with a bit of optimism. And I think if we were to balance out these three potential buyers who we hear the most about right now, Nick Candy and Martin Broughton, alongside the Saudi media group, obviously with separate bids, to me at this point in time, these are the two that I like the sound of the most. I think Nick Candy being involved would be very good in terms of transparency. I think we would not struggle to understand at the quickest possible opportunity what the future has for Chelsea Football Club. Nick Candy wouldn't be coming by himself. There is reports that he would be partnered with a US hedge fund, and Citadel are the name that's being ringing around at the moment. At this point in time, there is still nothing concrete. There are bids being made, but still no decision is going to be made until Friday. But of course, I'll keep you guys updated here on GBFC with all of the latest news. Thank you for tuning in every single day. I hope that I'm doing, well, I feel like I'm doing the best job I can to give not only my thoughts, but to tell you what's actually happening. So yeah, thank you for all the love and support. Hit the like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, turn on those bell notifications, and I'm sure within a few hours, we're going to have even more information. So that means more content for you lot. Thanks for watching. Come on, you Blues.